This is what we're making, an anticlastic cuff. Now, if you order your metal for this, order it half hard or dead soft. And argentium is a good metal to use for this because even if you have to anneal it, you won't have fire scale. We're making an anticlastic cuff, and the piece of metal for this one is 0.7 thick, 20 mil wide, 150 mil long. I use my bench plate as my measuring device. I know it's 150 mil long, or 6 inches in the old money. And if you need to know the gauge, the back of Tim McCrate's book has a conversion chart. 0.7 is 21 gauge. You can look online, get a conversion chart. The only time I need it is when I'm ordering metal from the US or from Britain. If I order it locally, it's metric. So mark out your metal. This screw is exactly in the middle of that. So what I want to do is draw a taper that ends up being 10 mil wide from the middle to the end. So lay it out, use your straight edge, do both ends and cut it out into this shape. Once you have it cut out, round the ends, file the edges, tidy it up with your 400 grade paper on a sanding stick, anneal it, and then we'll start to form it. Now just for fun, I'm going to pattern mine. I've taken one of the cheap ball pens that I bought at a swap mart, and I used an abrasive disc, and I just cut a pattern in the face. So now I'm going to anneal my metal, hammer my pattern in, anneal it again, and then form it. So I'm just putting my metal on my anvil, and we're going to hammer and make sure that you get the pattern everywhere. So I've got it patterned. I need to anneal it again because I will have work hardened it, and then we'll form it. Hallmark this now on the back. Because once you've formed it, you won't be able to hallmark it. Now I'm using a sinusoidal stake and a plastic hammer, and the plastic because I don't want to damage my pattern on this. Plastic or wood forms a little bit slower than metal, but it doesn't mark it. There are different types of sinusoidal stakes. There's this type, which is quite nice, available from Rio. This type is available from almost everybody. The new nylon stakes that are like this are nice, but they're a little bit softer. They don't form quite as quickly. This is actually my choice. So pick the curve that matches what you want. Now what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to hit it at a slight angle so that it curves down as you're curving it up. Yeah. Now, as you work this, it'll work harden. when it gets to the point where it's not moving when you're hammering on this, anneal it again. And just work your way around. So you can see we've got a good start. If your edges are a little bit ripply, just rotate it so that just the edge is on the side of your stake. And you can hammer that out. So now I need to anneal this before I can work it any farther. And if you try to just bend it with the curve up here, it'll just crimp it. It'll put an ugly shape in it. So just keep annealing. So you can see I've got my shape, and it may need a little more work to tidy up the edges and that. But I'm sure you thought initially that the metal was too light, but with this double curve, the anticlastic shape, it gives it strength. And what I do now is I go on a oval bracelet mandrel, and using the plastic hammer, if the shape is a little bit off, you hit it right at the spot where you've been hitting it on your anticlastic stake, because you don't want to flatten this part of your curve out. Yeah, so now it's just a matter of polishing it, and if you put it in the tumbler, your pattern will stay nice and crisp, and you're done.